Welcome back to Cryptonites, and today's special edition, a full review on the Binance BNB coin on the Binance Smart Chain. Is this the king of all multi-utility tokens in the crypto sphere? What were the utilities that helped yesterday? What are the utilities of today? And is this an intelligent investment decision for the future? Please remember, this is purely for edutainment purposes. Woo! And therefore, you should definitely do your own research. There's always biases, but we're going to focus on facts and fundamentals as usual, rather than pump and dump schemes. And here we go, the BNB coin. All right, so why does it matter? Why are we covering BNB? Well, number one, historically, if we go all the way back to the BNB inception in late 2017, you can see here with this graph on TradingView that the BNB token has outperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum ever since its inception, which is pretty crazy, and that is thanks to its fundamentals, which are much more robust, and we'll talk about why. But let's have a look at this graph. Even if we go forward 2018, 2019, and let's go all the way to 2020, as you guys can see, BNB, again, has constantly been outperforming the two biggest projects in the blockchain sphere. And this is absolutely crazy. Even if we go to 2021, still the BNB token has outperformed everyone. Is this likely to continue? We're going to figure that out with the next parts, but just for you to understand, this is why everyone should keep an eye on the BNB coin. Now you must be thinking, this is absolutely nuts. How does BNB outperform the two giants of crypto? Well, it's very simple. The core value proposition with BNB is that it combines all the utilities of a robust exchange with the utilities or use cases of an actual blockchain with Binance Smart Chain. So this is a fundamental view, macro level view that everyone needs to understand. Why is BNB so promising and has performed so well? Number one, it is the number one exchange in the world for trading volume. So it has all the utilities on exchange. And number two, it combines all the use cases of an actual blockchain and has serious adoption. So we're going to look at that next also to better understand the use cases and utilities of the BNB coin. All right, so the utility number one when it comes to the exchange side of the BNB coin is simply by using BNB coins, you can save on trading fees. That is the very first utility that the BNB coin came out with, other than governance, which allowed you to vote for projects to get listed, which was removed eventually. In the beginning, in the early days, the BNB coin offered you up to 50% discounts on trading fees, which then went down to the current rate of 25%. All right, so everybody can see here in terms of saving fees, we have this 25% that's included on spot trading fees. So this means on secondary markets, on margin trading, but also on futures trading. So it has multiple levels, which of course is always very, very interesting. And then if we look at this particular chart, we can now see that we have also VIP levels. So this is very interesting because here the BNB balance to go up to VIP 9, if you really want to get as many discounts as possible, you need a minimum of 5,500 BNB. Knowing that one BNB is over triple digits, that is a lot of money. We're talking about millions of dollars necessary to get the lowest fees. The second most critical utility on the BNB coin is the buyback and burn mechanism. Why? Because it's a deflationary coin. It doesn't just have fixed supply. The supply actually decreases over time through these buyback, and burn mechanisms. And they are brutal in terms of size. Let's quantify this and have a look at the actual USD nominal value. As you can see here in the first 15 BNB buyback burns, there has been intense burning. And have a look at burn number 12. 3.4, close to 3.5 million BNB tokens were burnt. Now, just to give you a little bit of a sense on that number, the BNB coin today is over $300. So that is over $1 billion of BNB coins burnt. That is one number that is really, really hard to digest because it is so intense, but it has been continuing, right? Actually, the latest burn was the 18th burn, which was 1.6, 1.7 million BNB coins burnt. And from this point onwards, there's going to be a quarterly auto burn, and that's what the Binance team is calling it. There should be a burn within the next days. Apparently, it's supposed to happen before April 21st. So hopefully we'll see this happen. And also, it's critical to see how many tokens will be burnt. But all I can say here, everyone, is that there will be quarterly burns continuing to keep this token deflationary and providing as much value as possible to the token holders. All right, here we go for utility number 3. Binance kicked off what we call the Binance IEOs. These IEOs are early stage projects that get listed on Binance, but now this is called the Binance Launchpad or Launchpool, depending on whether you use the desktop or mobile version of the Binance exchange. Now, this is a very strong utility in bull markets. So it is temporary. It is not a fixed or what I call a hard utility that is constantly providing value regardless of the market, such as the buyback burn always provides value. The actual discounts always provides value. But this one weakens over time depending on the season, but also depending on the frequency of the listings. There are periods where, for instance, Binance cannot have any projects on the Launchpad for months. And so it becomes a bit of a soft utility. So this is key in bull markets, but let's have a look at the specific meaning of it. So what it is essentially you stake your BNB, and in exchange for staking, you're going to harvest or earn a new token, an early project token, right? So that is very, very cool. And here's some examples of projects that went through the Binance Launchpad / Launchpool. And you can see that there are some heavy hitters. Matic did their IDO or launch on the Binance Launchpad, Axie Infinity, Sandbox, Elrond, Harmony. I mean, these are very, very high quality projects. And it's super cool that you can actually earn these tokens directly with the BNB. Now, I do have another negative to this utility, which is there were times where you could stake your BUSD to earn these tokens, or you could stake your DOT to earn a Polkadot project. So in terms of token economics, I really think that the BNB coin should be the only token accepted to farm these new early stage token projects. And that would make the utility even more robust. So now we've covered the 3 core utilities with regards to BNB on the exchange side. Let's have a look at the blockchain side. So this was one later edition, which really brings the BNB coin to the next level. Having the Binance Smart Chain, which essentially was trying to compromise on decentralization and instead provide lower gas fees, make it faster, but also open up DeFi to people other than the whales and the very exclusive circles. So this is something that it was a trade-off, and it was really well done, even though there are some hardcore decentralization guys that think, oh, Binance only has 21 mainnet validators and 11, testnet validators. It does solve a big problem. And the best way to judge this on the value of the BSC chain is to actually look at adoption. So let's have a look at the facts. This channel really wants to focus on facts over opinions and politics. So let's have a look at some on-chain statistics to reflect on whether the BSC chain is useful or not. So here in terms of users per protocol, we're actually measuring how many unique wallet addresses are on each of these chains. And as you can see here, guys, from 2021 all the way up to today, the Binance Smart chain has had more users than any other chain out there. Some may say, oh, but some of these users may have multiple unique wallet addresses, so it's maybe not the most accurate way of measuring this particular statistic. But let's be honest, guys. Look at the amount of users, 3.83 million is definitely reflecting relative to Matic and ETH that they're serving the masses more than any other chain out there. And this is crazy. Like, look at this. 8 million users in 1 week. I mean, those are pretty good statistics. Let's have a look at another critical statistic, which is the number of transactions on each blockchain. Once again, here in this green color, we can see that BSC over the past year has more transactions per protocol than any other chain out there. And Solana is getting closer. Solana, you can see, has been coming up. Hedera also popped up, which is very nice to see. But again, another stamp of approval for the BSC chain. And the last one I want to look at here is the volume per protocol. Let's look at BSC chain relative to ETH, Solana, etc. You can see here that, again, BSC is in this kind of like greenish color. It was number one in terms of volume as well, more than Ethereum despite having OpenSea, and then it's dropped a little bit. And now it is in second position behind Ethereum because of the NFT explosion. But still, again, we're talking about number of users, number of transactions, and volume, and all three BSC shows that it has great space. And why is this good for the BNB coin, by the way, guys? It's because of transaction fees, right? Gas fees. This is showing that this BSC chain as a new utility is earning in terms of gas fees. And the more traction it has, the more powerful the chain becomes and the more valuable the BNB coin becomes as well. So these are some critical metrics to look at in order to truly understand whether there's value or not. And clearly there is. All right, so let's further give you pictures on this, on the specific use cases for the BSC Smart Chain. But if we look in terms of balance in TVL, ETH 2.0 obviously has a lot staked here, but look again, in the top 5 projects, one is a BSC project with ApeSwap, $5.8 billion as of today. Let's look at it in terms of users. Again, PancakeSwap, number one across all chains with 2.9 roughly million users in the past 30 days. And now let's measure by volume. You can see here that BSwap on BSC, PancakeSwap, both are above $10 billion of volume in the past 30 days. And by the way, look at this, guys, Radium on Solana. For those who missed the previous video, don't forget to check out the Battle of the Blockchain series. We talked about Solana versus Avalanche last week. I'm giving you some facts and figures on that. But again, this is just here to paint a picture on why BSC has very strong value in the ecosystem. And despite BSC in terms of TVL being number one at one point, then number two, and now actually number three. So BSC lost a little bit in TVL based on the current markets, of course, and the success of the Terra chain with Anchor Protocol UST yields. But still, again, BSC chain, even in TVL, has 6.25% of all DeFi. So this is still a very strong statistic and really proves that BSC chain has its place in terms of providing value to the BNB coin. Again, just to validate some of the metrics we were talking about earlier, you can see here that a price of a transaction is 4 cents at the moment. In terms of speed as well, we've been averaging at 66, 67 transactions per second, which is 3 to 4 times what Ethereum is doing as of today. And there have been many transactions in the past 14 days, between 4 to 6 million every single day. So again, just validating the speed and the gas fees to show that this is not just a white paper or a website. On-chain stats can prove it. And the last topic that I'd like to share with you all is in terms of the actual APY, right? Of course, in these sluggish markets, you want to earn yield, right? You want to earn yield. And the BNB chain, as of today, has 7.31% yield. So always, whether you decide to buy or not, based on your own research, I am bullish short-term, mid-term, and even long-term with the BNB coin. We'll talk about the risks in the next part. For those who want to buy the BNB coin in order to stake and earn these yields, probably the best way to do it directly from your bank and buying it at the best price is to go through the Swissborg Wealth app. We're connected to 5 exchanges. We can help you buy BNB coin. You can even stake it to earn yield as well through DeFi, safe DeFi protocols. But let's have a look at the BNB chain and how to stake it through proof of stake. So here you can see that in terms of staking your BNB, you earn roughly 7.31% as of today. This fluctuates, of course. And one of the key things to look at in terms of the people where you can earn these yields, here are a list on staking rewards that show who are the legitimate players where you can stake your BNB coins. And one wallet to use for proof of stake, which I think is quite successful, is called the Trust Wallet. You can stake over there to earn roughly these percentages, right? You should expect anywhere between 7.23% all the way to 8.11%, depending on the validator. Now here we go with the final BNB coin utility. We talked about the exchange. We talked about the Binance Smart Chain. Now third, let's talk about the Binance Card. Now this is a good utility in some ways. I do not find it as strong as the previously mentioned utilities, and I'm going to explain why. However, that being said, it's always cool to be able to spend your crypto without having to go through fiat. But long story short, this is what Binance offers through the card. The more you stake in terms of BNB, the more the commissions are lowered and the more cash back you will earn along the way. So the cool thing is, again, if you have 600 BNB, you can get up to 8% cash back. Now, I don't know if this is still the case as of today, but I do see friends using the BNB card almost on a weekly basis, right? So it's cool to have an extra utility to lock up BNB and remove it from circulating supply. There is one thing I do not necessarily like with cards, is that by spending a token, it's not necessarily a hard utility, because the actual merchants will be selling it for euro, for British pound, or whatever currency it is. So it actually adds to selling pressure. So that's why I would not put this as a utility that is as strong as the discounts, or let's say as strong as the buyback burn mechanism, but it is still a strong utility and many people are satisfied with these services. One last thing before we talk about the risks. There are other use cases. These are not utilities because they're not solid enough to be classified as utility, but you can use BNB as a payment on multiple platforms, right? You can pay in BNB at some merchant shops and stuff like that. You can use it for booking hotels, accommodation. Again, it's specific to some businesses, but some of them are quite big. So there's also entertainment uses to book on accommodation. You can use BNB on some lending protocols, Eastland, so Aave and stuff like that. You can take out loans, use it as collateral. There's also on the BNB card as well, where you can get some cash back. But again, it's hard to really classify these things as utility. Even the website shows that these are more use cases to further increase the value of the BNB coin. Now let's move on to the risks. Okay, so a lot of people, and this is not necessarily my personal view, but a lot of people talk about how number one is BNB coin as security. Number two, are there any regulatory or legal risks with regards to the growth and the KYC, ML, and all that kind of stuff? Now, I'm going to keep it super brief here, right? Binance does not need the US to survive. It is such a successful exchange. It's generated more revenue than most of the major banks that at this point, I really think that Binance is too big to fail, as we may say, and especially relative to some of the current major banks in the world that have done things that are really nasty relative to Binance in terms of money laundering, drug cartels, drug lords, mafia. Really, I don't see as many legal or regulatory risks as some of the banks and all the dirty things that have been happening behind the scenes. In terms of being a securities, Binance does not need the US. Let's just be very frank and honest. If Binance US wasn't happening today, it would totally survive without it. And from an investment standpoint, if US investors want the BNB coin, there's so many exchanges out there that do not require KYC ML. They could still buy it as easily as they want, or just go through DeFi. So really, I don't think the US is an issue, and I do not think that Binance can be threatened by any jurisdiction at this point based on the size it has accomplished. It's a behemoth. Again, those are my risks. What do you guys think? Do you see any other risk? Is there something that I'm forgetting? I'm definitely not a legal expert, so I do not want to. This is not opinion again. This is just edutainment. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments box below. Do you see any other risks besides that? And let's move on to the next part. And the very last metric that I would like to show you all is in terms of BNB staked. Have a look here, guys. We can see that according to staking rewards, we have 81.57% of all BNB circulating staked. So that is how bullish the ecosystem is. As you can see here, it is by far, except for Algorand, the token the most staked across all blockchains. So here we go. That's it for all the on-chain stats. And let's move to the conclusion.
Look at Swissborg.
Swissborg est sorti ce matin.
They have an app where you can buy crypto.
They connect to Binance, HitBTC, LMAX, and Kraken and find the
best rates in the market.
What I like about Swissborg is that they have an amazing app
that can directly buy cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and also cash out as well.
Through Swissborg, all assets will have a fiat gateway. And here's the thing.
Premium features gives you zero fee trading.
That is zero fees.
If you want to buy Bitcoin with fiat, I suggest you buy through Swissborg rather than Coinbase.
And if you're interested in trading the likes of Ethereum or Bitcoin, use Swissborg's application.
In a fast-moving and confusing crypto asset market, get an edge with Crypto Slate Edge. Enhanced, in-depth news coverage and extensive crypto asset and sector data are all part of your exclusive access as a member, helping you understand the market with features such as on-chain metrics and sentiments, all of which allow you to convert knowledge into action with an ad-free experience. As a bonus, access our private Telegram channel to receive live insights whilst engaging with the Crypto Slate community. Subscribe now at cryptoslate.com/edge.